3 accounts, same posting style, same deleted thread referenced, different IPs across 3 countries. LurmoStories reads them like one person speaking through a wall. The timestamps line up too cleanly to be coincidence. Whoever they are, they only post between 2 and 4 in the morning.
I did not write this down in 2005 because I was afraid notes could turn into evidence. I worked in archives. Evidence was half my job. In March 2005, I was 29, living alone in Albany Park, and working in the newspaper room at the Harold Washington Library Center in Chicago, the red brick library on State Street with the owls on the roof. The archive was dust and routine. Cotton gloves, gray boxes, microfilm drawers, and a Dell Optiplex that sounded like a hairdryer. Bound newspapers smelled like dry glue and basement air. The staff microwave always smelled like burnt popcorn. My supervisor was Denise, sharp glasses and a Virginia Slim's voice. Alan worked the next room. Marcus at security called me Miss Haskins. On Tuesday, March 15th, Denise gave me a cart of repaired volumes from a binding vendor in Indiana. One was labeled Chicago Metropolitan Register, 1982, January to June. It was a free neighborhood weekly. Alderman photos, jewel ads, block club minutes. The cover cloth had a 4-inch slash. I wrote that on the intake form in blue Bic and set the volume on the foam cradle in room B17. January was normal. In February, the masthead changed from register to register for 3 issues, E before the T. I wrote masthead typo and smiled. Cheap paper, bad proofreader. That was my first rational explanation. Around 4:20, Denise leaned in. You lock in this room tonight? Yeah, I want to finish 82. Use State Street after 6. Security is whining about Plymouth Court again. By 6, the building had its after-hours sound. Vents humming, cartwheels far away, rain ticking in the window well. Normal old building stuff. I had bought a car 1 month earlier, February 12th, from Grossinger on North Avenue. A silver 2001 Honda Civic EX. 2 doors, 62,400 miles, gray cloth seats, 1 dent over the left rear wheel. The temporary Illinois plate was taped inside the rear window. The salesman, Kevin, gave me a Cubs keychain. That night, the Civic was in the underground staff garage, space 34. At 6:48, I opened the issue dated Friday, March 26, 1982. The headline across the front page read, "Local Library Archivist Killed in Dan Ryan Crash." I did not scream. I just read it. The first paragraph said Laura Haskins, 29, an archives worker at the Chicago Public Library, had died Thursday night after her car was struck near the 47th Street exit on the Dan Ryan Expressway. It gave my exact apartment on Spalding Avenue. It named my car, Silver 2001 Honda Civic EX, temporary plate in rear window. Below the fold was a grainy photo of my Civic. Same dent, same Grossinger sticker, same pale blob by the ignition where the Cubs keychain would be. I checked the date again, March 26, 1982. The radiator clicked twice. I said no, like I was correcting a clerk. Maybe a modern photocopy had been bound in by mistake. But the page was sewn in with the rest. Same yellow paper, same crumbly edge, same brown spots by the gutter. It smelled like old newsprint and glue, not toner. The article continued on page 3. Under a Marshall Fields spring dress ad, it said the crash happened at approximately 9:12 p.m. on March 17, 2005. 2 days later. It said I had worked late to finish a cataloging correction in a 1982 newspaper volume. It said I was last seen leaving through the Plymouth Court staff exit. I checked nearby issues. March 12th was normal, March 19th was normal, April 2nd was normal. March 26th had my future death between a city budget story and a fish fry schedule. At 7:03, Alan came in with a microfilm box. I closed the volume too fast. You okay? Just dust. I should have shown him. I wanted a witness, and I wanted nobody else to see it. The second feeling won. After he left, I read the article again. Some details were wrong. It called my sister Anne. Her name is Anna. It said I started at the library in 1999. I started in 2000. Then I saw the last line. According to a coworker, Haskins had seemed troubled earlier in the week by a damaged archival page she refused to describe. That was when it stopped feeling like a prank
and started feeling like the page had noticed me. I scanned the page on the beige Epson flatbed. The preview showed everything except my article. In its place was a pale, blank rectangle.
The Canon copier did the same thing. At 8:02, Marcus announced closing on the staff speaker. State Street exit only, not Plymouth Court. I locked B17, logged the volume as requires supervisor review, and took the red line at Jackson, then the brown line at Belmont. At Western, the platform wind smelled like wet metal. I got home at 9:41. I checked because the article had said 9:12. The next morning, I came in on almost no sleep. Denise said, "You look like a peeled potato." Room B17 was colder than usual. I opened the register to March 26, 1982. The front page was normal. Teachers Union, ward map, fish fry. No headline about me. Page 3 was normal too. For 10 seconds, I felt stupid and grateful. Then I saw my yellow pad. In my handwriting, local library archivist killed in Dan Ryan crash. Under it, 9:12 p.m., March 17, 2005. I almost told Denise. Instead, I said I might have a migraine. "Home," she said, "before you infect my dead people." I did not go home. I went to the garage. The Civic sat in space 34. The concrete smelled like oil and wet dust. The Cubs keychain hung from the ignition because I had left a spare key under the floor mat. Stupid, yes. There was a fresh white scratch low on the passenger side of the windshield. I told myself garages do things. Then I saw the folded newspaper under the driver's wiper. It was dry. It was one page from the Metropolitan Register, March 26, 1982. Blank except for a small ad in the corner. Grossinger City Toyota, North Avenue. Used imports. Ask for Kevin. Kevin would have been a kid in 1982. I folded it into my coat and took the stairs up. In the staff restroom, I locked myself in the end stall and opened it. The ad was gone. Now it was just blank old paper. I checked the microfilm reel in drawer M31. March 26th showed the normal front page. The vendor invoice said Indiana Library Binding, received March 10th, signed by Pat. Nothing. Later, Alan looked at the February issue and shrugged. "It says register." I looked too. It did. Thursday, March 17th was the date from the article. I called in sick and stayed in my apartment all day. The fridge clicked. Mr. Kowalski's TV applauded through the ceiling. At 11:30, I bought saltines, ginger ale, and the Sun-Times from Samir on Kedzie. He asked where my car was. I said downtown. At 2:06 p.m., Denise called. "Did you come in today?" "No." "Your car is in the garage." "I know." "No, Laura, I mean, it's running." Marcus had found it during rounds. Engine on, doors closed, nobody inside. He shut it off with the spare key from under my mat. I had not told Denise about the spare. At 9:08 that night, my phone rang again. Caller ID blank. There was road noise, wet and close. Then my own voice, thin and flat, said, "I took the wrong exit." I did not speak. "There was a ladder," the voice said. The line clicked dead. At 9:12, something metal slammed outside. Maybe a dumpster lid, maybe a truck backfiring. Nothing else happened. No police, no crash. Just me sitting in the dark with warm ginger ale beside me. Friday morning, I went in early. The register volume was open on the table in B17. I had locked it in the cabinet. I know I had. The March 26th front page had changed again. Archivist survives near miss. Questions remain. The photo showed my Civic in the garage. Engine running, no driver. The article said I had avoided a fatal expressway collision by failing to leave my apartment. A second photo showed my building and mislabeled the cross street as Montrose, not Sunnyside. I tried the copier. Blank rectangle. I tried my Canon PowerShot. On the camera screen, the page was normal. I lowered the camera and the headline was still there. Denise arrived at 8:12. I asked for my keys. What is going on? Someone is messing with my car. I want to move it. In the garage, the Civic started normally. Q101 came on. The windshield scratch was gone. I moved it from space 34 to a visitor meter on Van Buren and fed it 4 quarters. At 1 o'clock, the article changed. Archivist's car moved before second incident. The text mentioned the Van Buren meter number 614203, which I had not noticed until I ran outside and checked. At 2 o'clock, it changed again. Woman declines to comment on archival anomaly. At 3 o'clock, a line appeared near the bottom. The page remains in library custody. That is when I understood it in the practical way. The page was not predicting one event. It was reporting around me. Badly, but close enough.
Keeping it was also an action. At 4:40, Denise went upstairs. Alan was helping a patron with Sanborn maps. Marcus was at the State Street desk. B17 was empty. I took the red-handled utility knife from the supply drawer. I put on gloves and opened to March 26th. The headline now read, "Archivist considers removing page." No kidding, I said. I placed the metal ruler along the gutter and cut. Old paper drags and makes a soft crunch. Beige dust stuck to my glove. The article did not change while I cut it. No warning, just thread, paper, and my own breathing. I folded the page twice, slipped it inside a file folder, and signed out for restroom on the clipboard because archives make you ridiculous. The lower-level staff restroom had 2 sinks, a cracked mirror, and a hand dryer that sounded like a shop vac. It smelled like pink soap and old pipes. I locked the deadbolt and unfolded the page in the sink. For the first time, it stopped pretending to be a normal newspaper. Little text blocks overlapped. March 17th, March 18th, March 26th, 1982, 2005, 2011. Anna in one line, Anne in the next. Sold vehicle, CTA delay. Page damaged by fire. A photo of the Civic from above, like a traffic camera shot from a year that did not have that camera. Then a line darkened in the lower margin, letter by letter. Haskins ignites document in staff restroom. That was enough. I used Alan's Bic lighter from the supply shelf. The first corner would not catch. Then it browned, blackened, and curled. Smoke went straight up into the vent. It smelled like burned hair and pennies. The detector stayed quiet. Ash turned to gray mush when I ran the water. When it was gone, I kept the water running for 180 seconds. I counted every one. Back in B17, the volume opened from March 19th straight to April 2nd. No torn stub, no cut thread. My yellow pad was blank after the February notes. The intake form no longer mentioned the slash in the cover. The slash was gone too. Denise came in at 5:30 and said, "You look better." "Migraine broke," I said. I drove the Civic home at 5:58, taking LaSalle instead of any expressway. Every ladder on every work van looked placed there for me. The next week, I sold it to a graduate student named Trevor for $5,200 cash, less than I owed. He asked why I was selling after only a month. "Parking," I said. After that, I used the train. Brown line to the loop, sometimes red if the timing was better. I bought a monthly CTA pass at Walgreens and kept it in the front pocket of my bag. Signal delays, gum on seats, hot brake smell in the tunnels. Safe things to complain about. I never found the Metropolitan Register again. Alan said we never had that title. Denise said maybe I meant the Metropolitan Reader. The Indiana invoice listed 6 repaired volumes, not 7. My blue Bic intake note did not exist. I am writing this because last week I found my yellow pad from 2005 in a box of tax papers. On one sheet, in my handwriting, there is the headline. Local library archivist killed in Dan Ryan crash. Under it, I had written one more line. If found again, do not read past page 3. I do not remember writing that. I worked nights at Denver 911 from 2016 to early 2019. It was not red phones and shouting. It was gray cubicles, Dell monitors, dry heat from ceiling vents, burnt coffee, and vending machine pretzels at 3 a.m. In November 2018, I was 29 and rented the lower half of a brick duplex at 603 South Logan Street, near Alameda. I drove a blue 2012 Subaru Impreza that smelled like wet floor mats. My upstairs neighbor Todd had a Beagle mix named Milo. The call came in Tuesday, November 13th. My shift was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. My supervisor Mara sat 2 rows behind me with a purple fleece blanket. She was 46 and hard to scare. At 12:18 a.m., my console chirped. The screen showed wireless phase 2, but the map gave me a weak circle near Cheeseman Park. Restricted number. Normal enough, I answered. Denver 911, what is the address of your emergency? For 5 seconds, just careful breathing. Then a man whispered, please don't talk loud. I can keep my voice down.
Tell me the address. He's at the door.
Who is? I don't know. He came up the stairs. There was a refrigerator hum behind him and something ticking in a wall. His whisper sounded close. What address are you at? I'm in Denver. That annoyed me first, not scared me. I typed Cheeseman Possible into CAD and tried again.
House, apartment, or business? Apartment. Building name. I just moved here. What can you see outside? A laundry sign, blue and white. The R is blinking. There's a church with a red door across the street. I typed it. Real callers give dumb details. Something hit wood in the background. Not a knock, a flat, heavy hit. Is your door locked? Yes, chain 2. What's your name? Dylan. Dylan, I'm Aaron. I'm staying with you. Do not open the door. I raised my hand. Mara came over, smelling like peppermint gum, and looked at the bad location circle. Dylan whispered, he knows I'm in here. Did he say that? No. How do you know? He's covering the people from the outside. Mara's face changed a little. I typed, unknown male outside door blocking people. Another bang came through the headset. At the same second, my desk vibrated once. My water bottle trembled. Mara asked, you good? I nodded. We had snow earlier, and the building popped when the temperature dropped. HVAC. Coincidence. Dylan whispered, he's not knocking right. What does that mean? He's using the bottom of the door. Then I heard scraping, slow, low, like a chair dragging over kitchen tile, except against wood. Mara tapped a location panel. The circle jumped from Cheeseman to South Broadway, then vanished. She told dispatch to start officers toward Cheeseman/Cap Hill. Dylan, can you see mail or lease papers? They're by the door. Can you crawl there? No. The banging stopped. That was worse. Dylan's whisper got thinner. He left. Stay where you are. He's not going down the hall. What do you hear? He's counting. What number? I don't... Wait. 29. I was 29. I told myself that meant nothing. Could be apartment 29, Mara murmured. Are you in apartment 29? No, 318. Then the number came through the line again, but not in Dylan's voice. It was deeper and dry. It sounded centered in my headset. 29. Dylan whispered, you hear that? Yes, I said, and wished I had lied. The voice said, 6, then 0, then 3. My brain tried to make it random. A code, an apartment, bad audio. The door hit again. The audio cut out, came back, and Dylan was crying without making noise. I can see under it, he whispered. Under the door? There are fingers. Human fingers? Too many.
I did not type that. I typed, caller reports fingers under door. You learn to write clean. The chain lock rattled. Dylan whispered, it's pulling the chain. Mara plugged into my spare jack. Dylan, this is Supervisor Kell. Officers are on the way. Move away from the door now. He can hear you, Dylan said. Then there was a sound I still hate describing, like someone imitating a smoke alarm with their throat, slowed down until it became a squeal. My audio meter jumped red. The map refreshed again. A pin drops near East 13th and Lafayette. Then South Broadway. Then it snapped to my home. Not near my home. On it. 603 South Logan Street, Denver, C080209. My lower unit. For one dumb second, I thought CAD remembered my address. It does not do that. It shows the call location. Mara saw it. Aaron, Dylan whispered. He stopped. The other voice came back, clean and close. 603 South Logan Street, lower unit. The whole room changed. Phones rang, radios clicked. Around my desk, everyone went still. Dylan whispered, that isn't my address. The voice said, blue Subaru in back, kitchen light on, bedroom window cracked. All true. I always left the kitchen light on. The bedroom window was cracked because the radiator ran too hot. The Subaru was parked by the alley. Mara hit mute. Do you live there? I nodded. She turned. Jonah, DPD to 603 South Logan, lower unit. Possible break-in in progress.
Now. Then she unmuted. I said, "Dylan, are you still with me?" He whispered, "It knows you." The line crackled. In the static, I heard Milo bark twice, 2 sharp barks and a whine. I knew that dog. I pulled off my headset. Mara caught it and put it to her ear. Dylan's voice leaked through the foam pad. "Please, it's inside." Mara pointed toward the break room. "Go." I didn't move fast. I hate admitting that. Mara deleted my address from Dylan's event and typed unknown cheeseman / Cap Hill Posse. CAD replaced it. 603 South Logan Street, lower unit. Jonas swore. "It's doing it on my console too." The overhead lights dipped once. The UPS under my desk clicked. Then every desk phone rang, even the old beige one by the printer. From 3 cubicles at once, I heard the same whisper. "Please don't talk loud." Then it stopped. Mara was still on the original call. She toggled the external speaker by mistake and said, "Dylan, if you hear me, make any sound." A bang came through the speaker. It was not Dylan's door. It was my back door. I knew the thick, cracking pop because the frame stuck when the weather changed. The speaker gave us that exact crack. Then the voice said, "Kitchen." I ran to the break room. Not outside. I am not brave. The break room had a vending machine, a sink, muted ESPN on the TV, and a half-eaten bag of Doritos on the counter. By habit, I called my own landline. I still had Comcast phone bundled with internet. Someone picked up after 4 rings. I heard my kitchen. Refrigerator rattle, radiator tick, IKEA lamp buzzing by the couch. Then I heard my own voice, like a recording. Milk, trash bags, cat food. I did not have a cat. I hung up. A security guard named Luis came in. He was built like a vending machine. "Police are rolling," he said. "Units near Broadway and Alameda." That was 6 blocks from my place. Then the beige wall phone rang. It had a post-it on it that said, "Deadline, do not use." Luis said, "Nope." I answered it anyway. When you answer phones for a living, a ringing phone feels like an order. Dylan whispered, "Aaron? Where are you?" "Under the sink. Not mine. It smells like your soap." I used orange dial soap. "White cabinet doors," he said. "One hinge is broken. There's a grocery bag with other grocery bags in it." That was my sink cabinet. Behind him, Milo barked once upstairs, then went quiet. Luis spoke into his radio. "Tell units possible occupant inside lower unit." I asked, "Can you open the cabinet?" "No, it's standing in the kitchen." "What do you see?" "Feet. Yours." I looked down. Black Skechers, coffee stain on the left toe. Dylan whispered, "It's wearing your shoes, your pants, your badge." Then my own voice came onto the line. "Denver 911, what is the address of your emergency?" I dropped the phone. From the dangling handset, my voice kept repeating the line, calm and tired. Luis pulled me into the hall. Tom had a Motorola radio pressed to his ear. "Officers at your address," he said. "What do they see?" "Rear gate open, back door forced." Mara came down the hall without her headset. Dylan line dropped, 12:34:19. Tom's radio crackled. An officer said, "Door is forced, clearing lower." Another voice, "Denver police, call out if you're inside." Static. Then, "Kitchen clear, living room clear, bedroom clear." Tom said, "Check under kitchen sink." A pause. "Cabinet open, nobody inside." The officers found the back door frame split near the deadbolt. The kitchen window was open from the inside. Nothing was stolen. Laptop on the couch, orange dial soap by the sink, grocery bags under it. They also found my work badge on the kitchen floor. That made no sense because my badge was around my neck. Same badge number, same photo, same scratch over the D in Denver. Later, someone suggested it was an old badge. It was not. The kitchen badge vanished before evidence logged it. Todd was upstairs the whole time. He told police he heard the door crack at about 12:31 and thought my landlord was doing something stupid. Milo hid in the bathtub. Todd did not come down. Fair enough. Mara would not let me go home. She drove me to a Hyatt house near Belmar and bought me a toothbrush, charger, and plain t-shirts from Walmart. Her car smelled like Armor All. She did not make me talk. Detectives came the next day. They asked about Dylan. I had almost nothing. White male, maybe, mid-20s to 30s. scared. They played the recording.
I heard myself ask for the address, heard Dylan whisper, heard the first bang. Then there were 12 minutes and 16 seconds of silence. The call stayed connected, but the audio was empty. My notes were there until caller reports fingers under door. After that, one line appeared. 603 South Logan Street, lower unit. The audit log said my terminal entered it at 12:29:06. I did not type it. The duplicate calls did not show in the phone system. The break room phone was still marked disconnected since August. They never found Dylan or the apartment. A red church door and blinking R turned up near 12th and Pearl, but that building had 2 floors, not 3. No Dylan in 318. No broken door. I went back once with Mara and 2 officers. It was 10 a.m., bright and cold, snow crust along the curb, traffic hissing on wet pavement. My back door had plywood over it. Inside, everything looked like mine, but slightly wrong. Couch blanket folded, bedroom window shut and locked. On the counter was my grocery list: milk, trash bags, cat food. My handwriting. Still no cat. I took my passport, 2 sweaters, my grandmother's ring, and a shoebox of photos. I left the rest and did not fight for the deposit. I lasted 6 more weeks in Denver. Day shift first, then admin work, then I quit. Sometimes my cell showed 1 missed call from my own number with no voicemail. In January 2019, I moved to Ohio to live with my Aunt Linda outside Toledo. She had a spare room, 2 loud box fans, and no landline. I told people I needed a change. That was true, just not enough. I do billing now for a medical supply company. It is boring, which I like. I use a PO box. I do not leave windows cracked. I still answer unknown numbers sometimes, but I never say my name first. Mara emailed me in March 2019. The case was closed as unfounded/unknown. Property management had repaired my old back door. She attached a photo from the empty unit. Afternoon sun, dust on the floor, the back door off its hinges. Under the sink, the white cabinet hung open. On the inside, near the broken hinge, someone had written a phone number in black Sharpie. It was the restricted number from Dylan's call. I still remember it. I wish I didn't. I have never dialed it, and I never will. In September 2013, I was on a logging hitch north of Glen Allen, past the Richardson Highway, then 40 miles on a rutted service road. The company called the cut Unit 14B. We called it the Bull because the valley sat low between black spruce ridges and held fog every morning until almost 10. There were 8 of us. Ray was the foreman, 58, from Soldotna. I was Tom, 31, Sawyer. Luis, Mark, and Eddie, Ben, Calvin, and Owen made up the rest. Owen was the new kid, 22. Camp was 3 Atco trailers, a cook tent, an outhouse, a diesel generator, and 2 Ford F350s. We had Stihl MS660 saws, a Garmin GP SMAP 62S, and 1 Iridium sat phone. No cell service. The first thing was an orange survey flag tied to a willow by the skid trail on September 12th. Our flagging was pink and blue. I asked Ray if he had marked it. He said, nope. Luis said it was probably moose hunters. That made sense, so we let it make sense. 2 days later, Ben found a Bushnell trophy cam strapped to a birch about 200 yards from the landing. It pointed at our road, not at any game trail. No SD card inside. Fresh Energizer batteries. Ray told Ben to put it back. Ben asked why. Ray said, because if someone comes for it, I'd rather know where they stand. That was the first time I felt stupid for not being worried. On September 16th, we were cutting old pine and spruce along a dry creek bed. The air smelled like chain oil, diesel, and wet moss. Ravens clicked at us from dead tops. One big pine leaned toward the skid trail. 30 inches at the butt, fire scar down one side, top dead. Ray said to drop it. I opened the face cut with the steel. The sawdust came out black and damp, clumping on my chaps. Rotten heartwood. When the tree went, it cracked flat and split along the trunk. Something white showed inside the hollow. Mark said, "What the hell's that?" I shut the saw off. Someone had used the hollow like a locker. There was a black dry bag wrapped in contractor trash bags and old pitch. Ray cut it open. Inside were 6 vacuum-sealed bricks of white powder. Under them was a pistol in an oily rag, a Beretta M9 type with a long black suppressor on the barrel. At the bottom was a Meade spiral notebook sealed in a Ziploc. Ray opened it with 2 fingers. The The first page had dates and numbers. The second page had names. Mine was near the top. Weaver Thomas, 61.87319 minus 145.41208. Below it was Haskins Ray, Ortega Luis, Sutter Ben, Klein Mark, Klein Eddie, Reed Calvin, Pike Owen. All 8 of us printed in black Sharpie, each with GPS coordinates. Owen said, "Those are our bunks." He was right. We checked later with Ray's Garmin. My number was the back corner of the trailer where I slept, maybe 15 feet off. Ray's was the office end. Luis was by the propane heater. Ben was by the cracked window. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe the company marked us for safety. Maybe fish and game. Then I looked at the suppressor and the powder and knew I was being dumb on purpose. Ray closed the notebook. "Nobody touches anything else." Ben said, "We need troopers." "We call Karen first," Ray said. Karen was our dispatcher in Fairbanks. "And we don't do it standing here." We put the dry bag back in the split. Ray kept the notebook. Then he told us to work the last hour like normal. It sounds insane, but if someone was watching, 8 men running back to camp would say we had found something. So we bucked 2 smaller trees and pretended the day was normal. Back at camp, Ray used the sat phone. The rest of us sat in the cook tent with a pot of Folgers burning on the stove. Owen asked if maybe it was federal stuff. Ben said, "Then why are our names in it?" Ray came in after 12 minutes. Karen was calling Alaska State Troopers and the Anchorage office. We were to pack personal bags but not load trucks. No wandering alone. No extra lights. That night, we taped cardboard over trailer windows. Around 10, Luis and I went to the outhouse together, like little kids. Halfway back, he grabbed my sleeve and pointed down the service road. A red light blinked once between the trees, then gone. "Brake light?" I whispered. "Maybe." No engine sound, just generator hum, rain ticking on spruce, and lime smell from the outhouse on my sleeve. The red light blinked again, lower this time. At 11:40, the Motorola on the cook table popped with static. A man said, "Unit 14, you boys awake?" Ray picked it up. "Who is this?" "Name's Dale, hunting party, road washed out south end. You got a dozer?" "Contact troopers on emergency channel," Ray said. Static. Then a small laugh. "Come on, Ray, don't be like that." He knew Ray's name, maybe from the company truck, maybe from the notebook. Both thoughts were bad. Nobody slept. In the morning, we found a loose cap on the spare diesel drum, a roofing nail pushed into one Ford tire, and another orange flag tied to the same willow. This one had duct tape on it with 2 words in black marker: "Put back." Ray photographed it and called Karen again. He came back looking older. "Company wants us out. Troopers can't reach us fast. Weather's sitting on the pass. Karen's trying for a bird from Fairbanks." We spent the morning getting ready to abandon camp without making it obvious. Duffels by doors, chainsaws drained, paperwork in a Rubbermaid tote. Luis and I changed the Ford tire in mud that smelled like cold pennies. Owen kept asking if he should call his mom. Ray said no. At 1:30, a blue Chevy Suburban rolled into camp from the North Road, which was supposed to dead end 6 miles up. Alaska plates, mud over the numbers, cracked windshield, faded NRA sticker. 2 men inside. The driver stepped out slow. Camo ball cap, thick shoulders. The passenger stayed in. Yellow rain jacket zipped to his chin. Ray walked out, but stopped 10 yards short. I was at the cook tent, holding a splitting maul, and trying not to look like I was holding it for a reason. The driver smiled. "You Ray?" Ray said, "Who's asking?" "Name's Dale." Dale looked over the trailers, generator, fuel bladders, our faces. "Heard you boys found some property of ours. Old snag out there. Hunting cache. We'll collect it and be gone." Ray said, "This is active timberland. You need to leave." Dale's smile thinned. "You don't want troopers crawling around your operation." "Already called," Ray said. The passenger door opened. The second man got out. Older, hood up, cheap white sneakers sinking in mud. He held a Remington 700 pointed down. Not aiming, just showing. For a few seconds, all I heard was rain on leaves and the generator chugging. I noticed duct tape flapping on their side mirror, a mosquito on Dale's cheek, hot antifreeze smell from the Suburban. Then Ray's sat phone rang inside his trailer. Dale took 2 fast steps toward the trailer. Ben moved to block him. The older man lifted the rifle halfway. From inside the trailer, Calvin yelled, "Ray, it's Karen!" Dale raised one hand. "Tell Karen you're fine." Ray said louder, "Calvin, answer it!" The older man glanced at Dale. In that tiny break, Mark started the Caterpillar. The engine coughed, caught, and roared. Its backup alarm screamed because he had left it in reverse. Calvin opened the trailer door with the sat phone pressed to his ear. "She's got a helicopter," he shouted. 30 minutes. Dale heard it. His face went flat. 30 minutes is a long time, he said. Ray said, "Not for 8 men looking at 2. A radio crackled inside the Suburban. Dale listened, then backed toward the truck. "You don't know what you found." Ray answered, "I know enough." The Suburban reversed through mud and went back north. Nobody moved until the engine faded. Then Ray said, "Pack the rest, now." Karen called again at 2:04. A Bell 206 was coming from Fairbanks with a company safety manager aboard. 4 men per trip, bags on laps. Land at the gravel pad if visibility held. Do not drive south. She repeated that twice. We moved to the landing, the only open place. The sky was low. Rain dotted my glasses. My shirt stuck cold to my back under my Carhartt. Every few minutes, someone thought they heard an engine. Once it was a Raven. Once it was the loader, cooling down. At 2:27, we heard the helicopter. It came through fog, chopping against the ridges, then dropped over the south trees with its light on. The pilot set down hard. A man in a dark jacket jumped out and yelled, "4 now, bags on laps." Ray sent Owen, Eddie, Luis, and Calvin first. Owen argued. Ray shoved him toward the skids and said, "Move." They lifted at 2:34. The camp below kept humming because the generator was still running. Ben said, "We should shut it off." Ray said, "No." "Why?" "Because if it stops, I want to know it wasn't us." At 2:49, the Motorola on Ray's belt crackled. Dale said, "Tell Tom he should have stayed in Spokane." My old driver's license still had a Spokane address when I filled out payroll that summer. I had not told Dale anything. Ray later said he never knew. Dale continued, "Tell Ben his daughter's got a nice red Jeep." Ben lunged for the radio. Ray caught his wrist. "Don't." The radio clicked again. "Put the book and the bag on the road. Walk away. Nobody follows you." Ray pulled the battery and threw both pieces into the brush. Mark whispered, "What if they're at the tree now?" Ray said, "Then they can have it." The helicopter came back at 2:56, lower and faster. Mark climbed in, then Ben, then me. Ray tried to hang back until the safety manager shouted, "No last, get in." For once, Ray listened. As we lifted, I looked down at camp. The trailers looked small. Smoke still came from the cook tent stove. The old pine was hidden under canopy to the east. The Suburban was gone. Then I saw orange, not the flag by the willow. An orange tarp lay across the north road about 300 yards from camp. A man stood beside it, looking up. I could not see his face. He did not wave. He just watched us leave. Ray saw him too. He stared through the scratched plastic window and said nothing. We landed at a gravel pit near the highway, where the first group waited with 2 company trucks and a trooper SUV. Trooper Bowers separated us before we could compare stories. When I told him Dale had mentioned Spokane, he stopped writing. 2 plainclothes agents came the next morning. They did not say FBI until later, but we all knew. When I asked if they found the stash, one said, "We're still working the scene." I never went back to Unit 14B, none of us did. The company pulled the contract. Ray retired that winter. Luis moved back to Oregon. Owen quit before Christmas. Ben sold his daughter's red Jeep. In February 2014, Ben called me late and said Ray had told him the notebook had more pages than we saw. Coordinates for a gas station outside Tok, a pullout by the Matanuska River, and a Walmart parking lot in Fairbanks where Owen bought a blue cooler. Ben said they weren't watching the tree, they were watching us. That is the part I still carry, not the white bricks, not the pistol, not Dale standing in mud pretending to be reasonable. It is how normal everything had been before the pine fell. Men eating instant oatmeal, Ray filling fuel logs, me complaining about a dull chain, someone already knowing where I slept. The official ending is clean. Ray contacted the dispatcher, Karen got a helicopter sent. We broke camp fast and were evacuated before police reached the site. The case went to the FBI because of the weapon. the suspected trafficking, and other pieces nobody explained to us. My version is only this. I remember the saw stopping. I remember Mark saying, "What the hell is that?" I remember my name in Sharpie beside the exact place where I slept. And I remember Ray in the helicopter, staring down at that orange tarp on the road, saying nothing at all. I took the Rattray Head contract because it sounded boring. In March 2015, boring sounded useful. I was 38, recently divorced, living near Inverness, and tired of being asked how I was. The job had clear edges. Test batteries, check the lamp, change a sensor cable, drive back to the cottage. Rattray Head is north of Peterhead on Scotland's northeast coast, where the land goes flat and the North Sea puts salt on every zipper and screw. At low tide, you can walk over black rocks and a broken causeway. At high tide, you wait. My colleague was Rory, a technician from Oban. 45, quiet, good with machines, rude to weather. He wore a red Carhartt beanie and drank Nescafe from a chipped Tesco mug. We had a white Ford Transit, a Dell Latitude, a Fluke meter, an Iridium sat phone, and WD-40. Nobody lived at the lighthouse. We were there to clean salt off the lantern glass, test the AIS beacon, and replace a hatch sensor line that kept logging false faults. The lantern room sat about 30 meters above the rocks. 109 metal steps. My left knee counted them. The first odd thing was the fish. On March 12th, we found maybe 40 small silver fish at the base of the tower, all pointing inland, cloudy eyes. Some had one side scraped bare. Rory crouched and said, "Gannets." There aren't any gannets. There are always gannets somewhere. I accepted that. Birds drop things, trawlers dump things. The sea explains almost everything. I wrote "likely bird activity" in the sheet and moved on. Then I saw the service door. 5 fresh scratches crossed the gray marine paint. The handle had a clear smear on it. I touched it with the back of my glove, and a string of slime stretched from the handle to my knuckle. It smelled of shellfish left in a warm bin. "Seal," Rory said. "At the door?" "Big seal." We laughed, because laughing was easier than standing there. Inside, everything looked normal. Tool cases by the battery bank, emergency water, 2 cans of Heinz beans, oat bars, a Tesco first aid kit. The tower smelled of wet concrete, old metal, and diesel. That afternoon was routine. Rory fought with a corroded junction box. I cleaned the lantern glass and ran the LED test. Outside, the sea was slate gray, the wind northwest at about 25 knots. At 4:20 p.m., the VHF gave 3 sharp bursts of static. The AIS screen showed 1 fishing boat 6 miles east. Rory blamed interference from the lamp driver, technical enough to be true. At 5:10, I went out to secure the generator housing before the tide closed the rocks. Then, I heard knocking. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. It came from below the outer gallery, like knuckles on a hollow door. I leaned over the rail and saw only foam in the rock channels. A gray seal watched, then dipped under. Back inside, Rory was standing on the stairs. "You hear that?" he said. "Loose chain." "What chain?" "The one I'll find tomorrow." He looked at me, then shrugged. That was our method. Name it, then fix it later. The tide boxed us in that night. We were supposed to sleep at a cottage near Crimond, but the swell washed across the causeway, so we stayed in the service room with 2 folding cots, 1 rattling heater, a kettle, and Rory's laptop. Around 1:30 a.m., something hit the glass above us. The sound came down the central shaft, a flat slap, a squeak, then a wet drag. Rory sat up. Bird. At night? Storm blown. Another slap, heavier. The lamp assembly clicked as the system corrected itself. Then, silence. Neither of us climbed up. That still bothers me, because we both knew it was not a bird, and we chose the least embarrassing word. At 3:12 a.m., the diesel generator started by itself. The batteries were fine. Exhaust pushed into the service room through the vent, and the control panel began to alarm. We climbed to level 2. The panel showed aux power demand and lamp access open. The hatch sensor upstairs was reading open. "You fitted that sensor?" Rory asked. "Last year." "Then I'm blaming you." "Fine, blame me. Blame a reed switch. Blame anything with a part number." We went up with torches. I had a mag light and a pry bar. Useless, but comforting. At the lantern room door, my breath showed white. The hatch was dogged shut from inside. Rory put his meter on the contact. "Closed," he said. "Panel says open." "Panel's lying."
Then the drag came again, right outside the glass. It moved around the lantern room. Slow rubber against glass, with small popping sounds. Not claws, not feet. Rory switched off his torch. I did the same. The lamp was between flashes, so the room went dark. Then the LED blinked and showed the sea, the rail, and our reflections. On the next flash, something pale covered the pane in front of us. Not a face, not a hand. A flat, wet patch wider than my chest, pressed against the outside. In the middle was a round mark the size of a dinner plate. It slid down 6 inches and held there. The glass creaked. Rory whispered, "Nope." The next flash showed empty glass. We went down fast. In the service room, Rory shut the inner door and put his back against it. "Octopus," he said. "In the North Sea, up a lighthouse." "Big octopus." He did not sound convinced. The generator stopped after 11 minutes. The alarm cleared. At 4:40, the VHF clicked, then carried a low sound like someone humming through water. It rose at the end, almost like a question. I said, "Interference." Rory said, "Say that again and I'll throw the radio in the sea." So I did not. Dawn came gray and late. Gulls screamed over the rocks like nothing had happened. We waited until 7:15 before going up. Rory said, "If there's storm damage, insurance wants photos. If I write, 'Unknown animal licked the lamp,' they'll test my coffee." The lantern room smelled wrong. Usually it smelled of salt, dust, warm electronics, and hot plastic. That morning it smelled sweet and rotten, like crab shells mixed with bleach. My eyes watered. The glass was covered. Dozens of suction marks ran around the outside panes, from waist height to above my head. Each was the diameter of a dinner plate, some larger. Several overlapped, like something had tested its grip. We measured the biggest at 31 centimeters. Rory took photos without speaking. Then he pointed to the outer gallery rail. The paint had bubbled and peeled in strips. Clear slime had dripped from the glass, eaten through the gray coating and exposed bare metal. Strings of mucus hung under the rail. One touched the deck and left a white mark. "Don't step in it," Roy said. "I wasn't planning to." "No, look." He touched a strand with the tip of a nylon cable tie. A thin white curl of vapor rose. The end softened in under 10 seconds. That was when it became paperwork. Forms have boxes for vandalism, corrosion, storm damage, bird strike. Not for something that climbed 30 meters in the dark and left acid on your rail. We photographed everything. Wide shots, close shots, tape measure beside suction marks, Rory's Tesco mug for scale. I called the duty office on the Iridium and reported chemical contamination of unknown marine biological origin. The man on duty asked if we had evidence of vandalism. Unless they came by helicopter with a wet dinner plate, I said, no. By 8:30, the tide was low enough to leave. We should have. Then the panel threw lamp access open again. Same fault. If the controller decided the housing was unsafe, the light might shut itself down. We can't leave it, Rory said. Yes, we can. No, Mark, we can't. So we stayed another hour. That is how bad decisions happen. Not because anyone is brave, because there is a checklist. I cleaned enough glass to inspect it while Rory traced the sensor line. We used nitrile gloves, goggles, and a 5-liter tub of industrial solvent for marine fittings. It turned the slime into gray threads and made my tongue feel numb through the mask. Under the suction marks, the glass had tiny circular scratches. At 9:05, I saw the shape offshore. I was clipped to the gallery rail with a long brush in my hand. About 200 meters out, past a black rock shelf, something rolled just under the surface. Pale gray. Long. Not a seal. I saw one section, maybe 20 feet, then another several feet behind it. Rory! He came out. Where? Past the rock. We watched. Nothing. Then a gull dropped low and jerked sideways in midair. It did not dive. It simply vanished downward with a small splash. Rory said one word and went back inside. He found the sensor cable blackened inside the trunking. Not green corrosion, black, like burned copper. The conduit should have been sealed. He bypassed the hatch sensor with a temporary jumper and logged it as isolated, pending replacement. By the time we packed, the tide had turned. Crossing those rocks with the North Sea coming in is all small choices. Rory went first with the Pelican case. I followed with the tool bag, and his Nikon zipped inside my jacket.
Halfway across, the knocking started again. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. Rory stopped. "Move," I said. "That's not under us." He was right. It came from behind us, from the tower. The service door was shut. Then something pale moved over it from the seaward side, low and wide. Just one part of it, a limb, maybe. It gripped the metal. The door flexed inward with a bang that reached us half a second late. Rory ran. So did I. My bad knee disappeared for 20 seconds. I slipped once, caught myself on a rock, and cut my palm through the glove on a barnacle. A wave filled my right boot with cold water so sharp I nearly fell again. We reached the sand as the next set washed over the lower stones. Rory did not stop until the Ford Transit. He locked himself in, then unlocked my door because he had forgotten me for about 2 seconds. Neither of us spoke until we hit the B road.
Vinny said, "We are not reporting the bird." What bird? Exactly. At the cottage, we washed my hand, changed clothes, and uploaded the photos over a mobile hotspot that barely worked. Rory had clear shots of the suction marks, the rail paint, the cable, and one useless photo of the sea. The insurance photos were excellent. The monster photo was nothing. The office sent a team 2 days later. By then, the sea had cleaned most of the gallery. The suction rings were still faintly visible. The rail damage could not be argued with. The official wording was probable contact with unidentified marine fauna during storm event. Rory and I returned with them once. 4 men in daylight clipped to the gallery wearing gloves, all pretending not to check the water. We replaced the sensor line, treated the rail, and washed the glass again with stronger industrial solvent. Maybe it was an octopus. Fine. Find me the octopus that climbs a Scottish lighthouse in March, leaves acid on a rail 30 meters up, knocks twice in the same pattern, and gets back into the tide unseen. Rory made the insurance packet himself. His best photo was IMG_4417 with his Tesco mug beside a cloudy suction ring. In the glass, you can see our reflection. We look tired, not frightened. The glass was washed with industrial solvent and signed off as safe. The rail was repainted. The public summary did not mention the slime. Rory and I both requested transfer to mainland work at the first opportunity. Mine came through in May. His came in June. In 2018, he sent me a photo of a dinner plate with the message, 31 centimeters, still not funny. I did not answer for an hour. I have not been back to Rattray Head. I do harbor electronics now, radio masts and control rooms, places where the ground stays attached to the country. When I work near low tide, I still look at the channels between rocks. When I open a metal service door, I pause first. 3 taps, a pause, 2 taps, and me listening before I turn the handle. LurmoStories archives this one. The thread sat dead for 11 years before someone replied. The reply was the same user, logged in from a different country, asking if anyone remembered. Subscribe if you want the rest of what they wrote. We are not done with that thread.